Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. I have a huge announcement to make today. I have launched a second channel called Silver Slayer Clips. If you guys don't know, YouTube has a new beta mode called Shorts where you can post 15-second videos, almost like TikTok. And I started a second channel for that. It's actually my old channel, so you can still check out my old videos, more talking about the corrupt financial system, but now it's going to be all short clips. It'll be clips from unboxings to coins I want to share that day, or videos of my daughter, or whatever. So if you're a fan of Silver Slayer content, you definitely want to subscribe. It's going to be so cool because a 10-15 minute long video is definitely something more thorough, but a 15-second clip can be anything, and I can post multiple clips a day. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. It's going to be a deeper perspective into my more personal life that I can't share in a 15-minute long video, or just it wouldn't fit, the format wouldn't. So yeah, that's going to be super fun. Make sure you go subscribe over there. Now, is silver the new gold? I love that title. I'm actually writing a book called Silver is the New Gold. I just need to find a publisher. If you guys do know any way to get that book published, email me, silverfiend21@gmail.com. But yeah, I definitely think that silver is the new gold, and it's interesting because this article is written by the Pure Gold Company. So I think there's going to be a little bit of biased perspective on this video because they're asking, is silver? They're not saying it, they're asking it, especially since they're called the Pure Gold Company. I want to dive into this. So yeah, link to this article will be in the description. Make sure you subscribe. I post daily videos. Definitely subscribe to the Shorts channel. So an army of retail investors appended a tiny corner of the hedge fund market recently with a coordinated effort to buy up shares in an ailing company called GameStop. Obviously, you guys know about that. A week later, the same army turned to silver. That's Wall Street Silver. Great place. I call it the Facebook for silver stackers. Great place. It's so much fun on there. But regardless, will silver have emerged from shadows after the more famous gold relative? And I definitely think that silver's already doing that. It's not a question. It's already happening. Silver is already taking on a life of its own, and rightfully so, because silver is needed in the industrial world where gold just isn't. Like gold, silver has been highly prized for centuries. Its malleability means it has long been used in jewelry and decorative items, while its inherent value as a precious metal means it has been used across currency in many civilizations. Ultimately, silver is not as rare or as valuable as gold. And I don't think that that's a true statement. Silver is actually more rare than gold right now. It's getting harder and harder to find, especially since there is no focal silver mines. Silver is found as a byproduct by accident when they're looking for gold, lead, or zinc. If they find some silver, they'll take it, but they're not looking for it, especially since most silver is thrown away that gets dug up, where most gold is recycled and re-scrapped. So the recirculating supply of silver is very low. So yeah, I don't see how that's a fair statement, but who knows? But anyways, it is nonetheless, over the last several decades, becoming an increasingly essential component in industrial and medicine. It's created by the retail investment army, is raising the profile of silver, highlighting its inherent usefulness, desirability, and value. So gold and silver's relationship. The relationship between the value of gold and the value of silver is keenly watched. Gold to silver ratio right now at 65 to 1. The two precious metals don't always move in tandem on a daily basis. There are all manner of factors affecting the value of each. However, over the longer term, silver often tracks gold price trends. The relationship is quantified by gold-silver ratio. And it's interesting because last March, silver was $11. We saw the gold to silver ratio at 125 to 1, meaning it took 125 ounces of silver to equal 1 ounce of gold, which is extremely high. That's actually the highest it's ever been over the last 5,000 years. We saw history. We're going to be reading about that in history books. It's never going to happen again. So it was 125 to 1. Now it's 65 to 1. So silver has been dramatically outperforming, outpacing gold since last March. So I still think it has a lot of room to go on the lower side because since, throughout history, the gold to silver ratio was the ratio that it comes out of the ground. 8 to 1, it comes out of the ground. So the ratio was 8 to 1, which puts silver around $250 right now. But since then, it was, well, okay, so thousands of years, 8 to 1. Then around 1800, it was 16 to 1. Then 1930, it went from 16 to 1 to 75 to 1. FDR got in office, changed it from 16 to 1 to 75 to 1. So it was manipulated. It was man-made manipulated. Silver was devalued from that situation in 1930. So it really isn't anything that's natural. So simply put, the gold to silver ratio is the amount of silver required to buy an ounce of gold. If the gold price is 2,000, silver price is 20, ratio is 101. Many centuries from Roman times, ratio 12 to 1 began to fluctuate in the 1900s, which I was just saying. Over the last 100 years, the ratio has been lower than 20 and higher than 100, shifting up and down on the back of rises and falls in the price of both commodities. When the gold to silver ratio is high, it is often taken good time to buy silver, indicating that silver's metal is undervalued in relation to its pricier relative. So yeah, when the ratio is 125 to 1 in March, silver's $11. That's a great buy. But I don't know why the gold to silver ratio is, because silver does move very similar to gold. And I don't know why, because silver and gold are used for two completely different reasons. So just to answer the question up here, yes, silver will take on a life of its own. That can't go on forever. Gold is used for jewelry. Silver is used for jewelry and electronics. It's the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity and electricity and light sensitivity. So I don't see how moving forwards in this new digital era, how silver won't start to break apart from gold's price and start to move on its own. Recent gold silver ratios. Just before this, pandemic, the gold to silver ratio was over 120, the highest in a century, and well above the average over the 20th century of 47. And at the end of January 2021, the gold to silver ratio had fluctuated between 70 and 80. Since the Reddit rush at the end of January, the ratio has fallen just under 63 as the price has risen. This is still low in historical terms, and it really is, right? In today's terms, it's high. Well, I guess it's normal. But in historical terms, it's still very low. While the analysts' outlook for silver price fluctuates, many see upside in the longer term. Will silver's price reach $100 an ounce? Silver's volatility makes long-term predictions difficult, but some banks are bullish. Citigroup in October said silver could reach $50 an ounce this year, right? We had Citigroup, Bank of America, Silver Institute, Goldman Sachs, all calling for $50+ silver by the end of the year. That's extreme, especially since banks, they favor gold. Banks love gold, but don't like silver anymore. Silver's not money to them. So it's interesting that even banks are starting to call bullish predictions for silver. So there's a broad agreement that silver's industrial use will underpin its value when the global economy finally emerges from this virus and industrial output recovers. Silver's other uses. Silver is used in many industrial applications, including in electronic devices, plasma TVs, LED lights, medical equipment, batteries, solar panels, many more. And the increasing focus by governments around the world on sustainability has spurred demand for silver used in green technologies, especially for solar panels. And we're only going to see that get crazier and crazier. I posted a video by the Silver Institute talking about this. I highly recommend you go check that video out. One of the most informational videos, the most educational videos I've made in a while. That article is insane. Silver Institute's the holy grail of information. That video needs to be watched by any silver stacker. So, the silver has these two key bases on which to build further growth, along with traditional jewelry demand. Is investment silver tax-free? There's the VAT, value added tax. There's a lot of that stuff, in the UK, 20%. You can also choose to buy silver and have it stored and secure, allocated outside the EU, thereby bypassing the VAT system. I always recommend, well, it depends where you live. I mean, this is definitely a very tricky situation because my audience, I have people that live all over the world, so I can't really say something from the United States to the UK to Africa. I mean, it's a sticky situation. Just check out where you live and see what's up. So the frenzy of silver buying by retail investors reading social media site Reddit has largely been focused on paper silver, either mining companies exposed to silver or exchange traded funds. I always say buy. If you can't hold it, you don't own it. And actually, if you go on Wall Street Silver, most of it is physical silver, so that's false. If you go on Wall Street Silver, everyone on there is posting pictures of their coins, physical coins. You don't see any ETF stuff on there, SLB. It's all bullion, physical bullion. So people just aren't informed. They're misinformed and they're not doing their homework. Do your research. If you're gonna say something about Wall Street Silver, go on there and see what it's really about. Don't just assume or go by headlines and titles. So anyways, people, investors who have wealth within the controlled banks, financial institutions, increase risk of owning that counterparty collapse into cooperate, blah blah blah. Ups and downs of silver price. Adding precious metals to an investment portfolio should be a considered purchase and one that looks to longer term rises in value rather than short term bets on making a quick buck. And that's so true. Anyone who's thinking silver is going to explode in, a year or two, you're going to be wrong because, well, I guess it depends on what you see as quote unquote explode would be. But like Citibank or Citigroup and all these banks say, $50+ silver by the end of the year is definitely possible. That's not crazy though. Silver was $50 not even 10 years ago. In 2011, silver was $50. So that's not exploding in my book. Yes, that's more likely what would happen than, let's say, $100 silver, which would probably take a couple of years if all the stars align, which right now the stars are aligning. If you want to talk about crazy silver prices, we're living in crazy times, and if any time silver was going to hit $100, it would be now, if you think about it. So it is a more dramatic version of gold. I call it gold on steroids. Hits higher highs and lower lows. If gold's going to rise 10%, silver's going to rise 15%. If gold's going to drop 10%, silver's going to drop 15%. So you got to be careful. It's more volatile, which means there's also more opportunity and also more risky as well, though. But I don't really see risk in precious metals because anytime you're transferring fake money into real money, that's a win. So, yeah, I definitely think this was an all right article. Maybe a little bias and maybe a little misinformation just from the Wall Street Silver stuff. But still, it was a good article. They made some good points, and I'm glad that I was able to give some context, explain some of the things, because it seems like these articles will say something, but they won't give context, and context matters. It's very important that if you're going to say something, you explain what you mean, because then it could be taken the wrong way, which is what we see time and time again with supply and demand, scarcity, shortages, all that stuff. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Make sure to go check out my new channel, Silver Slayer Clips. I am so excited about this. I'm actually extremely excited about this. I don't know why. It's just something new. I've been posting 10, 15-minute long videos on YouTube for 6 years. But this 15-second clip thing is going to give me such a broad space to create content and just do things that I never could have done before. You're going to be so entertained and you're going to love this. Make sure you subscribe to Silver Slayer Clips. It's going to be so fun. You're going to see a whole new side of Silver Slayer, whole new side of content. So yeah. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you thought this video was educational, informational, at least entertaining, make sure to smash that like button. I post daily videos. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.